Have you ever been sitting at a railroad crossing, watching a freight train crawl by, and thought to yourself, why don't they just build another track? Or maybe you've seen a train stopped out in the middle of nowhere and you see the red light and because there's a train coming in the other direction or one that needs to pass. And the solution seems simple, doesn't it? Just build another track. Seems obvious. More track, more trains. More trains should mean more revenue. And more revenue should mean more profit. So why aren't America's freight railroads constantly adding tracks? Because here's the part almost nobody thinks about. A second track isn't just another set of rails. It might be the most expensive investment the railroad can make. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Railroad Economics. My name is Mark Magana, and this channel is where we explain why railroads do what they do and how the business actually works. Imagine you're the CEO of a major railroad. Business is good. Customers want to ship more freight. Certain parts of your network are getting congested. Your operations people come into your office and say, we really need another main track through this corridor. Seems simple enough, sounds simple enough. Approve the project, buy some rails, lay some ties, spread some ballast. Problem solved, right? Except that's probably the cheapest part of the entire project. Let's start with the land. So many things in the world always come back to real estate, right? Sometimes the railroad already owns enough right of way to squeeze in another track. If they do, great. But many times they don't. Now you're buying additional property. Maybe it's farmland, maybe it's someone's backyard, maybe it's a warehouse, maybe it's a shopping center. Every parcel has to be negotiated. Sometimes property owners don't want to sell. Sometimes the price goes way up because everyone knows exactly why you're there. And you haven't laid a single foot of rail yet. Then someone points out something else. What about the bridges? Wait, the bridges? Yep. Every bridge the railroad crosses, every highway overpass, every creek, every river, every tunnel, every retaining wall will have to be examined. Some can simply be widened, others have to be completely rebuilt. One bridge project alone can cost tens of millions of dollars. Suddenly, that second track doesn't look quite so simple anymore. Then the signal department speaks up. You can't just build another track and hope trains figure it out. You're going to have to install new switches, new signal houses, power systems, fiber optic communications, dispatching equipment, grade crossing circuitry. Now you're not just adding steel, are you? You're building, well, you're rebuilding part of the railroad's nervous system. And speaking of grade crossings, every road that crosses your railroad becomes more complicated. Longer crossing gates, additional warning systems, new electrical equipment. Sometimes the entire crossing has to be reconstructed. The local community notices, the local government gets involved. Construction gets slower and more expensive. Then comes something that's easily overlooked: utilities, gas lines, water mains, electric service, telephone, fiber optic cables. If they're in the way, somebody has to move them. Usually, they don't do that for free. And before construction even starts, there will be environmental reviews, stormwater studies, wetland, protected species, historic resources. Whether you agree with those regulations or not isn't really the point. The point is they're part of the cost of doing business. Every one of them adds time, every one of them adds money. Now, here's the part I find especially interesting. Let's say you finally build that second track. Congratulations. The project is finished, except it's really not because now you own more railroad, which often means more maintenance, more inspections, more replacement ties, more replacement rail, more signal equipment to maintain. And in many places, just about everywhere I can think of actually, more and probably higher property taxes. The costs don't end when the construction work ends. In many ways, they're just getting started, which brings us to the question that every railroad executive eventually has to ask. It's not, can we build it, but will it really earn enough money to justify building it? That's a completely different question. If the project costs 300 million, how much additional freight will it carry? Will customers actually use that capacity? How many years before the investment pays for itself? Could that same 300 million generate a better return somewhere else? Those are the business questions. And railroads are a business. What's interesting is that railroads don't always solve congestion by adding another track. Sometimes they add long passing sidings instead. Sometimes they redesign a yard. Sometimes they improve signaling. Sometimes they eliminate a bottleneck somewhere completely different. A relatively small project can sometimes increase capacity almost as much as an entirely new line, and for a fraction of the cost. So the next time someone says, why don't they just build another track? You know the answer. It isn't because railroads don't like spending money, and it isn't because they don't want to move more freight. It's because every mile of new railroad has to earn its keep. It has to generate enough additional business to justify spending hundreds of millions of dollars, not just to build it, but to maintain it for decades afterwards. And that's really what the railroad business, what railroad economics is all about. Not just asking whether something can be done, but asking whether it actually makes economic sense. My name is Mark Magana. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Please consider subscribing and hitting that like button and banging the bell. And when viewers do those things, it really does make a difference. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.